I remember watching at the time, standing there with my children in the cemetery and watching the coffin going down in the grave and thinking, if you never died, I would have killed you. For me, it was an act of selfishness, you know. And at that moment, I decided that I was going to be mother and father to my children. I was going to do the job that he should have stayed around to do and he never did. I will never give my children a reason to miss him, and I will make sure I will always be there for them.
We had a family feud over some property in St Lucia, and that caused a big problem. And because it caused a major separation in the family, I personally blamed my grandmother. I felt that she had caused all of the problems. She caused my mum to be depressed. She caused us to be separated as a family, and I just didn't want to be around her.
I started arguing with my stepfather and getting angry with him. Again, the anger would be because I thought, you know what, every time he would do something or say to me, oh, do this or do that, I would say, you're not my father. I don't want you to be with my mother. And we would have arguments all of the time. One day he was so fed up of me, so fed up of my mood, so fed up of my depression, so fed up of me arguing with him. He actually picked me up off the chair. I remember sitting on the sofa and he picked me up and he threw me to the ground and he started kicking me, punching me, started stepping on me. I just remember, that's all I remember, just covering my head thinking, oh my goodness, I didn't know that he would lose it like this.
My gran and my mum, they visited a clairvoyant, and that clairvoyant gave 3 readings for my sisters and I. So I'm the oldest of the 3. I remember my youngest sister, they said that she would kill someone.
My sister Melissa, we only had a year apart. I could never get on with her. My mum had to sort of build a partition. We used to share a room and she had to build a partition in our room because we just couldn't get along. And although she had really bad asthma at the time, I grew up with her having this problem. I tried to kill her on 3 or 4 occasions. Once I put a knife to her throat. On another occasion I jumped on her stomach. And on another occasion I actually threw a hammer at her.
And Melissa, the clairvoyant, said she's a closed book. No one's going to reach her. And that was Melissa. Melissa was so hard to communicate with. She was in her own world. Everyone dealt with the pain of my father's death in different ways. I became like a recluse. She was a recluse, but she was getting up to all kinds of things. She would be cutting herself, she would be out with gangs. She was just had a secret life.
I spent a lot of time out of the house. After school, I would go out with my friends. We'd sometimes smoke weed. We'd be with the wrong company, older men who were much older than us. We'd be hanging out with them. And I didn't want to come home until I knew that my gran was out of the house because she had an evening job, and I wanted to make sure she was out before I came in. And even on the weekends I would stay in my room.
I'd received one day, we went to Sunday Mass, someone just out of the blue gave me this gift in front of everyone. It's a stranger. She came to me, she goes, you know what, you're special. All my family were like, oh my gosh, you're so privileged to have that. I brought that home and I must have put it in the highest place in my room. But from that time I got that object, everything, I could say hell broke loose. At night, I used to feel this invisible force on top of me, almost strangling me, and there's nothing I could say. I couldn't scream. It's like I felt it strangling me, and I couldn't even, the words, nothing could come out of my mouth. And that would happen for about a minute, and it was like the longest 60 seconds of my life, and then it would go. And I would scream, I would run to my gran. My gran knew it was happening, but there was nothing, no one knew what to do. No one knew what to say about it.
One major thing was that my mum attempted suicide. She would cry. When we go on holidays, we would see she wasn't the same happy person that she was. And this really affected me, to know that my mum was suffering so much. I hated all the problems that we were having.
My mom, who became my rock after my first husband died, became my #1 enemy because we stopped talking to each other for 2 years. And because of that, I became very depressed, suicidal, attempted suicide 3 times. I was like a zombie, suffered from insomnia, spiritual attacks. I was paranoid. You know, I felt that I couldn't go to bed at nights because every time I did, I felt as if somebody was about to kill me.
And me, they said, oh, she's got someone special. She's got this special something, like a guardian angel covering her. She'll, you know, she's got like this green lining covering her. Don't worry about her. So when my grandma told me about this reading, I thought, oh, so maybe all the suffering I was going through is because I'm special. But really, I was not special at all. I was in so much pain. I was suffering so much, and those readings made no sense to me at all. I remember a family friend invited my grandma to the UCKG Help Centre, and my gran used to go. She had really bad arthritis. I had to rub her legs all the time. I lived with her, so I had to start cooking, helping her cook, clean. And when she went to the service, well, she went to a couple of services at the Help Centre, she came back one day with her leg walking properly. And I'd never seen that. I was shocked. And she started going back to work, and to be honest with you, this was a shock, I'll be honest. So I became curious. I decided to go.